Miss Jane's here, and I'm here to help you with your first grade skills lessons. Today we're on Skills Unit 4, Lesson 22. And our objectives for today are to name nouns based on adjectives. I love this game. Read words with the ed and write past and present tense verbs to fill in blanks. And then we're going to gather some information from a story to plan for another writing. Let's start with those adjectives to describe a noun. So you're going to tell me the noun. I'm going to give you adjectives. Are you ready? Let's see how many guesses it takes you to get this right. I'm going to be describing an animal from the Green Fern Zoo. I'm going to give you 4 clues. Let's see how many clues it takes you to get it right. Number 1. This thing is an animal and it has 2 legs. Any ideas yet? Number 2, this animal has orange webbed feet. What do you think? Number 3, this animal has a sharp pointed bill. And number 4, this animal has smooth black and white feathers. Did you guess the puffin? If you did, give yourself a pat on the back. Good guessing. How many did it take to get you there? Did you need all 4 clues or just 1? Let's see. Let's try another one. This time I'm just going to tell you one thing, one sentence, and I want you to guess who I'm talking about, okay? This animal is a big black cat that runs fast and uses claws to climb up a tree. Do you know what it is? The panther. And the next one. This long animal has a pattern on its scales that helps it hide in the desert sand. If you said snake, you're right, but which snake hides in the desert sand, the garter snake or the rattler snake? The rattler snake, right, that was the one that was tan and it hid in the sand. This animal swims in lakes and creeks and has dark marks that help it hide from bigger fish. It was a long time ago, do you remember? It was the trout. Did you get it? If you did, fantastic work. Good memory. And last, this was one of our newer ones. A small insect that likes to munch on wood. What one was that? The termite. Good. If you got any of those right, give yourself a round of applause. Great job. If you got them all right, give yourself an extra round of applause. Good job. Next, I want you to look at page 22.1 and the past tense verbs. This is what the page looks like. And you're going to read the sentence, and it gives you the verb underneath, but you're going to need to change it to past tense. What do we need to add at the end to make it past tense? ED, that's right. You need to add the ED at the end to make it past tense. I'll read the first one with you. Yesterday, the dog blinked the food on the carpet, and they gave you the verb lick. You just have to make lick past tense. So yesterday, the dog licked the food on the carpet. So write that word up here and add the ED at the end. You don't need the parentheses around it, just write the word in the parentheses. Do that for all 5 of these. And then we'll get back to our lesson because we've got some big things to do today. we're going to practice some more writing. From our Green Fern Zoo, the Green Fern Zoo reader. So we've learned about a lot of animals, and we've learned facts, true things about these animals. We're going to choose a critter to write about and do this whole writing process that we've been practicing. So there are a lot of different pages in your workbook that you can choose from. There's 22.2. This is the chimp. Then there's also the puffin. There is the finch. And there is the river otter. The shark. Reef shark is what it was. Mandrill. And that's it. So you have a lot of different animals to choose from. You only have to choose one of these animals to write about. You don't have to do more than one of these, just one. And the page has the name of critter. You're going to write the name, what you're describing, so the name again. And then we're going to use our 5 senses to tell about that critter. So I'm going to do one with you. Then you are going to pick one of these pages and do one on your own. So you are going to write one of these by yourself. You'll have to look back in the book and choose one of the animals that you would like to use. And then on the second page, it has some other questions. So this is like a planning page. This isn't quite our sentences yet. This isn't going to be our draft. This is just where we're planning and putting all the information that we've learned about the animal. So here is another layout of all the animals you can choose from: the chimp, the puffin, the finch, the river otter, the reef shark, or the mandrill. And here are the pages in the book they're on if you have that. Some of the pages where you can read about are inside your workbooks, or we can send you over the pages if you need to look at it again and you don't have a way to do that. On this side, it tells you which page in their book each animal is on. So for example, if you say, I want to write about the reef shark, you look over here, the reef shark is page 22.6 in your workbook. So you will only need to do page 22.6, but it's 2 pages long. And like I said, I'm going to do a practice one with you, and then you can do it on your own. So first I'll do mine, and then you can choose your topic that you want to write about. I'm going to write about the trout. This isn't one of the choices for you, so I'm going to write about one that you don't write about. So that you can't copy mine, you've got to write your own. So here's a picture of the trout, and I wrote my title. The name of the critter is trout. Then over here I put the little paragraph so we could look at it while we were writing. So for the trout, I'm going to use my 5 senses to just gather some information. So when I gather information, when I research, I have to look back at the words and the picture to see what that animal was about. So here I have the picture to look at, and I'm going to reread the words about the trout so I can remind myself. Trout. The fish here are trout. A trout is a fish that swims in cool lakes and creeks. You can see that they have lots of spots and marks. The spots and marks help the trout hide. They make the trout look a lot like the sand on the bed of a creek. So first off, it says, I will describe. I'm going to write the name of my animal. I will describe a trout. This is just our planning page, so it doesn't need to be perfect yet. You just have to write down some notes from what you're reading so you have an idea of what it's going to be about. So I will describe a trout. What it looks like. So this is going to be the part where I write about what it looks like. I'm looking at the picture. I see that the trout is gray with spots. We heard there were spots and marks on it. So I'm going to say gray with spots and marks because it is gray with spots and marks. I also see that it has fins, so I could write that too, that it has fins. That could be another thing for what it looks like. Fins. So here, I'm just writing notes. It doesn't need to be sentences yet. I'm just writing some things, some information that I'm gathering from looking at this picture. So I also see the color red. So I'm going to add red here. But I'm going to add it up here because the spots and the marks are red. Okay, that's all I really want to write about what it looks like. So I'm going to go to the next page. So here, the same thing, what it sounds like. I don't really know what a trout would sound like. So I'm going to put an X through that. It's okay if you can't use one of your senses, then you can just put an X through that part. So I'm just going to put a little line through it so I know that I'm skipping the sounds like part. If your animal, you know what it sounds like, or you can imagine what it sounds like, you can fill that out. I'm not sure, so I'm not going to fill that part out. And it didn't say anything in my paragraph. So what it feels like. I can think about a fish, and I know that fish are scaly. So I know from what I know about fish that the trout is going to feel scaly. So I'm going to write that word, scaly, to the best of my ability. So I know how to spell scale, so maybe I'll write scales for now. Scales. What else might it feel like? Maybe slimy. I'm going to write that. It might feel slimy. Wet. It would feel wet because they live in the water. Trying to think of some more adjectives to describe how it might feel. Well, those scales might be bumpy, so I might want to add the word bumpy. However many words you can think of is good. If you can think of a lot of words, that gives you a lot of choices when you get to your writing part. All right, I think that's all I've got for what it feels like. Where is its home? Where is its home? I learned that in the paragraph that I read. I learned where it makes its home. So I can go back to the paragraph and write from the paragraph, write where its home is. So the trout look a lot like the sand on the bed of a creek. Yeah, they live in cool lakes and creeks. So I'm going to write that. Cool lakes and creeks. There. So cool lakes and creeks. Notice I didn't write a sentence yet. I'm just taking notes right now. What food would it like? That's a good question. What food might a trout like? I think that a trout might eat smaller fish. So that's what I'm going to write. Smaller smaller fish. I think it might eat smaller fish inside of the water. So there, I filled out my whole template. I have what it looks like. I said I can't really tell what it sounds like. I'm not really sure, so I'm going to put an X through that. You should not put an X through more than one part. And none of these say taste like, so we don't have to worry about that. What it feels like, I can imagine looking at the picture, what it might feel like, where its home is. I learned that in the paragraph. And what food it would like. I just thought about in my head what else might be in there in water. Smaller fish. So I was thinking maybe it would like some smaller fish. So you're going to do this same process with the animal that you choose. So you can choose any of those animals, these 6 animals, to write about. You're not writing sentences, just some notes in this paper, okay? That's all you've got to do for right now is just take some notes about the animal that you choose. So when you're done with that, then we will have check mark done with our planning step. And next time we can start writing our paragraph, our draft of our paragraph. So go ahead and start that. Pick the animal that you think is the most interesting because you've got a lot of choices. And I can't wait to see what kind of fun adjectives you come up with to describe these animals. That is some great work for today. I'm going to let you go so you can get started on your planning, and I will see you tomorrow.